Hello, we're going to try a fly which everyone's heard of, a Cat's Whisker. And we'll do this one in white. Okay, now last time I tied a fly, I talked about lure fishing, strip striking, and inducing the take. One thing I didn't mention was tail nipping. But let's tie this fly, and I'll mention that as we go along. So, in the vise, we've got a fulling mill, heavyweight champ, with a 4mm brass bead and lead wire running up the hook. You can tie this without lead as well, okay? But I like to tie it with lead so it sinks a little bit even on a floating line. Okay, and it still casts well. So we're running some white thread along the hook. Okay, so what I mean by tail nipping, well, when you're getting them nips at the tail, and they just keep nipping at that tail, and if you're using a longer lure, this is how I usually start with a longer lure. And if I get these tail nippers, what I do then is I go down to a shorter lure. So this is a short shank version. And that will quite often commit to the take. So there we go, we've got the white thread in the hook. Got some white marabou hair. Part use feather. I wet the marabou between finger and thumb. We're going to put a towel on this fly, quite a generous towel. So I'm cutting around about 2 inches off the marabou off. There we go, there's my towel. And we're just going to twist that. The other thing you can do with tail nippers, you don't have to change to a smaller fly, you can cut the tail down. I tend to change to a smaller fly because I tie my own, but a lot of the time if you've got a long shank lure, you can just cut the tail down and that will induce the fish to commit to the take. So what we've done, we've put the marabou on top of the hook, we've tied that in, and there's my tail. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of attraction either side of his tail, and I've got some yellow pearl hair. So we hold it to the hook one side and just wrap that over a couple of times. I now bent it the other side of the hook and I do the same. Wrap it over a couple of times. And there you go, there's my attraction in the tail. Let's cut the excess off. Okay. Right, for the body of this fly, I'm going to use some Chartreuse Fritz. There we go, Chartreuse UV Standard Fritz. I need to find the end of it. I usually just strip a couple of the end fibres off behind the thread, pull it on top of the hook, couple of turns, and then take the thread back to the bead. There we go, and now we're going to wrap the chartreuse in the opposite direction to the thread, trying to get the fibres to stand out a little bit. Now, what if takes dry up when you're fishing a lure like this? Well, I found one of the best ways to start getting takes again is use a different colour. So I tie this lure in white like this one. I also tie it in olive and black, and quite often the colour change will keep the fish taken. If they see a lure several times the same colour going over their heads, they very quickly get bored of it. Now we're gonna put a wing on this fly. So again, white marabou. And I'm wetting it again. I'm just going to get a not quite substantial wing, so I'm just adding a bit more material. There's my wing. Place it on top of a hook. This is how I do it. I'm not an expert. I'm just a fisherman like anyone else. Just trying to encourage people into fly fishing and fly tying. I don't know if you noticed, I nipped it on top of a hook. I formed a slack loop and then pulled down. Just going to cut the excess off. And then we'll get a couple more turns just to seal it all down. Then I'm going to do something called posting, and this will just keep it. Bring the thread behind the wing. Circle it around. Bring down. Then in front of the wing. This posts the wing high. I think it adds to the attraction. Then I always finish my flies with 3 half hitches. Make sure you pull really hard on the last one to bed it down. And that basically is my white Cat's Whisker. It's caught me a lot of fish. It's a common lure and it's my version of it. Thank you very much.